Hello, everyone. Yes. To start with this, logic will take you from A to B. Imagination will take you everywhere. So good afternoon, good evening, thank you, and welcome. I'm Annette, your host for today. Now, COVID-19 situation had made us change, especially in adapting into our new normal way of living. Let's hear your thoughts on how you feel about teaching evolving to online delivery. A poll now will be shown on your screen. Please take a few minutes to provide your answer. So as I mentioned earlier, just wanted to hear from your side and from your, from your feeling. How do you feel about teaching evolving to online delivery? Yeah. Vicky, let's have an honest opinion. Yeah, whether it's positive, what do you think? Do you think it's negative, or you're not sure about it? Okay. So give you another couple of seconds. So yeah, all right. Okay. I think good. Thank you. Okay. So today I'm thrilled to be joined by our colleagues from the University of Technology, Sydney. So we have here Dr. Amanda White, the winner of the University Australia 2020 Award for Teaching Excellence, to share on how to prepare your future career with tomorrow's skills. Welcome, Amanda.
Hey, Annette, welcome to everybody across all of Asia. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening where you are. And I look forward to speaking with you all really soon.
All right, thank you. We also have Benny Tusaram, the International Region of Southeast Asia, who will explain about UTS graduate employabilities. Welcome, Benny.
Hi, good day to everybody. I'll see you shortly and hope you enjoy the whole session.
So what are we covering for today? So the main purpose of today's event is to give you the opportunity to understand the start of your career during this uncertain time. You will also learn on how to study and succeed during and after a pandemic. Now, besides the workshop, this event will provide you an overview of UTS College, our live online scholarship opportunity, and a touch of UTS graduate employability, as well as our live Q&A section throughout the event. Let's begin with UTS College. We offer pathway to undergrad and postgrad programs to UTS. So if you don't have the English or academic skills to enter UTS directly, no worries. We at UTS can help you. So our English language program naturally improves students' English language and academic literacy skills that is required to enter university. UTS Foundations Studies is for our Year 11 International High School graduates. It provides pathway to our diploma or entry into the first year of any undergraduate degree at UTS. Diplomas are ideal if you don't meet the academic or English language requires for the entry to UTS degree. So we offer 6 different kinds of programs, such as a diploma, communication, design and architecture, then we have engineering, information technology, and science. Now, lastly, we offered the pre-master's program. It is for students who don't meet the entry requirements into UTS master's degree. Now, this pre-master's is a recognized graduate certificate qualification and will reward you with entry into second semester. Now, we offer pre-masters in accounting and finance, and we have communication and technology practice. Now, these pathways that I've just mentioned to you are important, but it is also crucial, okay, to know how to study and succeed during and after a pandemic. So now let's bring us to today's highlight. Let's welcome Dr. Amanda White to share her experiences.
Hi, everybody. And just give me 1 second to share my screen with you. So welcome. And I encourage you to use the Q&A function We will be looking at the Q&As and some of those that I might answer during the presentation, but also some of those after. So welcome. My name is Dr. Amanda White, and I'd like to start this presentation by acknowledging the traditional owners of the land on which UTS sits, the Gadigal people of the Eora Nation, and where I am right now, which is in my home office, the Darug people. So it's really important that we recognize the Indigenous cultures that contribute to our learning and to our knowledge. So I teach accounting, and I love talking to students about where their studies can take them and how to be a great learner. This is really important. We don't talk with students enough about what it means to be a powerful learner. So, where's my little thing here? This is a little bit about me. I have a YouTube channel called Amanda Loves to Audit. You can follow me on Instagram as well, where I talk about study and accounting and preparing yourself for the world of work. So you can follow me on Instagram as well. But on my channel, I talk to students about accounting. I love talking about accounting. I'm going to be teaching first year accounting in 2022, and I teach final year students right now. Now, the two little boys that you can see there as well, they're my two little sons. And my heritage is Chinese. So my parents are from China and they moved to Australia in the 1950s. But I teach students from all over the world, both physically in my classes on campus and then also online. So I recently won that award that they talked about, which was years of culmination of effort around focusing on the student learning experience. So if you've got a device handy, I'd love you to go to slido.com, and there'll be a little section there to enter a code 51255. I want to find out about you. I know that we have almost, I think, about 100 people here, so this is fantastic. I want you to enter your dream job. So let me know. Slido.com, you can do that on your phone or on the computer that you're watching this on now. Slido.com, use the code 51255 and tell me what your dream job would be. Now, I want to find out more about you so that we can make sure that we're answering your questions and that we're tailoring everything to your needs. First one I can see there is entrepreneur. That's fantastic. We love entrepreneurs at UTS. I can tell you I have quite a number of students who have become quite big in the entrepreneurial space. One of my students, he is about to turn 21. He is a TikTok viral sensation, runs his own business, and studies here with us at UTS. We've got artists, designers, global influencer. That's a really exciting one. Business administrator. I would have loved to have been an artist, except I'm not very artistic. Journalist, marketing manager, forensics officer, designer, AI specialist. This is awesome stuff here. Someone wants to be a housewife. That's fine as well. Chef. I like the journalism one. The psycho doctor. I'm hoping that's like a psychologist, potentially. Gamer. Tell you what, we actually have a professional, we have a university esports team. So we do have students that come to UTS on esports scholarships associated with gaming as well. So it's great to see all the different types of roles that people want to go into. And I know that I come from a very traditional Asian family. There can be a lot of pressure when it comes from parents and other people to choose a particular profession. One that, I think when I was young, medicine, engineer, lawyer, those were sort of the key ones. But we really want students to follow their passion. By honoring, we do think it's still important to honor your parents, but consider how you could follow your passion to be able to do one of these things. And the great thing is that for almost everything on here, except maybe the dancer and the chef, we don't have any degrees in being a housewife, but pretty much everything else here on this list that students are writing down are things that you can learn at UTS. So it's really fantastic to see that you've got some diverse interests there. So also I've got something in the comment too. Someone wants to be in architecture. Fantastic. That was When I was young, maybe 10 years old, architect was what I wanted to be. Didn't think I'd become an accountant, but architect is not where I ended up. So knowing you and knowing your interests is really important. But what are we seeing in terms of trends in the world of work? What is happening out there in the workplace, in the graduates of UTS? What are they telling us about their work experiences? And they're telling us that there's a lot more automation, so much more automation and artificial intelligence. And somebody had written AI analyst before. That is a huge industry that's booming. We're also seeing remote work and remote collaboration. So I'm working from home, presenting from home. I do most of my work from my studio at home, but we're seeing people working from all around the world collaborating together. So working in that remote environment and collaborating together is important. And the third thing that we're seeing linked into AI is data analytics and business analytics. So the last time we had a world financial crisis that was not because of COVID, we saw lots of people turn to accounting and finance as a way to retrain, reskill, a new area where people could go into. What we're seeing now, after the financial impacts of COVID-19, is a much bigger push towards people moving into data analytics and business analytics. So that's a big trend that we're seeing across the industry. So what does it take to thrive and survive at university, especially when part of that learning happens online? And certainly, I don't know about you, but working from home has been a big change. And my students have told me that learning online can be really lonely. It can be really isolating. At UTS, we have something called Learning Power. Now, Learning Power is based on hundreds of thousands of hours of research in psychology and behavior to identify these 8 different dimensions of being a strong learner. And we don't talk with students enough about what it means to come to uni. We talk about courses, we talk about facilities, but we don't talk about, okay, what is it going to mean to be a really great learner? Does it mean remembering a lot of things? Does it mean being able to repeat a lot of things or write a lot? What does it mean? And often students think about learning as, oh, this is like, I'm only this smart. But in reality, the research shows us that we have unlimited potential with the right mindset and with the right understanding about learning. So I'm going to talk quickly about each of these dimensions of learning power and how you can actually harness these things to become a better learner, to become a more adaptable learner, so that you can learn when you're at your school, you can learn when you're studying university remotely, you can learn if you're studying on campus. And that means also that when you go out into the workplace, that you're able to learn on the job really effectively so that you can, follow those career goals that you're after. So let's go through each of these 8 components. The first one is orientation to learning. And you can read the slide there, but it's really about the ability to be open to new ideas. When you're learning, you're willing to try a different way. I do have a lot of students who say, look, learning this way has always worked for me. And Amanda, I don't care what you say, I'm going to study in this particular method. And it typically doesn't work for them because over my 20 years of experience, I understand what study method works best for my specific subject. So your orientation to learning is about, are you flexible? Are you willing to try and learn new ways of learning? And that's really important because when you're really rigid, and Donald Trump here is a prime example of a man who only wants to do things his way and is not interested in doing things anybody else's way at all. And that can be successful, but it doesn't work in all circumstances. So being flexible and being willing to listen to other people is really important. The next one, and this is really critical, and this is one of the areas that I always have to work on. I have bits of my learning power that are really strong and parts that I struggle with that are a bit weaker. And mindful agency is the part I struggle with. It's the idea of having a plan, knowing where you're going, having steps to get there and sticking to those steps. I tend to get, new project. So having a plan is really, really important. And this is Greta Thunberg. She has a plan to try and save the world from climate change, and she's sticking to that plan and keeping her goal in mind. So mindful agency is about, what is the end goal? What is your career aspiration? How is a specific type of study going to help get you to that goal? All right? Because when we float along without a plan, then we're not likely to achieve anything if we don't have a plan to how to get there. So mindful agency is really important. The next one here, we have Michelle and Barack Obama. And the idea here is hope and optimism. I meet lots of students who say, oh, I'm just never going to be smart enough. They don't have that hope that they can do it. And this is where it's really important to understand that learning is as much about your emotions and how you feel about learning as your ability to remember things and apply complex mathematical formula. So thinking, I can learn this, I can work hard, having that hope and optimism makes such a big difference in being open to trying new things. So hope and optimism is really important. The next thing is sense making. And I've got Oprah Winfrey here. You might know her. She's an American talk show host. But her idea is, I want to know how everything makes sense. I want to know why, for example, and I use this example, the last time I was overseas was in Jakarta, and there was massive floods. And I said to the students that I was visiting in a high school there, I said, look, why is there such bad flooding? Like, this is a monsoon sort of area. Shouldn't we be used to floods? And the students said, no, it's the plastic. It's all the plastic people throw away in the street. It gets caught in the storm drains, and then it just blocks up all the storms. And that is what causes flooding. So sense making is this idea of like, why? Why is that the case? And if anybody has little brothers or sisters, I have 2 little boys. Why is that, mummy? Why? And so sense making is really important because we don't just want to memorize things. Memorizing results in forgetting. If we want to make sense, if we want to really understand, that's going to make a big difference. The next one that goes with sense making and curiosity go together. This is the late Professor Stephen Hawking, and he had all these big questions about the universe. And again, there's that why question that comes out. Why is this? Why don't my students want to do the homework? Why are they always late on their assignments? Why won't my kids eat their vegetables? It's that curiosity. Don't just learn because people are telling you to learn. Follow some of that passion about why you're curious. Then, we have creativity. Now, this doesn't mean being artistic, all right? It's the idea of thinking outside the box, trying something different. Sometimes that might even be like, let's try thinking standing up rather than sitting down, or trying a different perspective, or letting your mind wander a little bit so that you might have that great idea. And that's potentially what Einstein did to come up with the theory of relativity. The next one is collaboration. And collaboration means working with other people. We human beings need social connection. We need each other. And so when you collaborate when you're learning, if you're with a small group of friends or your classmates, studying together helps learning become stronger. My students actually do their exams in 2 parts. They do a test on their own, and then I say, okay, you've done the test. Here are the questions again. I want you to do the test with 5 other people, and I want you to see if you can figure out the answer yourselves. So collaborating is a really powerful tool for learning, because learning alone, it's really lonely, and you can't have those amazing insights, those aha moments if I get it, when you're alone. So Angela Merkel here is the German chancellor. She's about to retire, but she is known as a key collaborator in bringing Europe together. Now, I want you to tell me in the chat, everyone, who this group of young men are. I want to see how much you know about the world around you. Who are these people? Because our next facet is about belonging. Belonging is really, really important. Thank you, Jimmy. Great work there. Great work. And I can see all the people popping up here in the chat. Excellent. Everybody knows that that's BTS. So hello to all the BTS ARMY fans out there. BTS have done an amazing thing with K-pop. They've created a feeling of community, even though they might be living in different countries. They can connect online and they feel like they belong. And if you were a BTS fan and you were walking in a different country and you saw someone wearing a BTS shirt, you knew that you could go up and talk to them and feel like, hey, we've got this same interest. So belonging is really important for learning. When you feel like you belong with your friends, at your school, at your university, within your subject, then belonging means you're much more willing to try things. You're much more willing to work with other people, to collaborate. When you have a strong feeling of belonging, you have lots of hope and you have lots of optimism. And so all of these things help make sure that you're a really powerful learner. So I'm going to do a quick poll and we're going to see how you go in evaluating your learning power. So back to our Slido page. And if you hadn't accessed the Slido before, you certainly can do now. Slido.com, put in that code 51255. And I want you to answer this question. And the question says, I feel confident in studying on my own and staying on track. And you can vote as to whether this is very much like you, somewhat like you, or not like you at all. And this one's really important. This is that idea of mindful agency. I'm not going to test you on all 8 components or ask you about all 8 components, but I'm going to ask you about some of the key ones that are really important for online learning and remote learning. So some 70, I'm looking at the percentages. They're moving all the time here. This is fantastic. Lots of people say, yeah, I'm good at staying on track. Some of the people in the middle, like me, I'm sort of a bit terrible at staying on track. And the people who said, oh, look, it's not like me at all. This is where scheduling, timetabling, have a list, a checklist of things to do every week, things to do over the term is going to be really important. Because when you're studying remotely, especially during a pandemic, staying on track is really, really, really hard. Because it's really easy to not go to class and just sleep in or watch Netflix or watch YouTube. So staying on track is really critical. So that is our mindful agency dimension of learning power. The next one, I feel confident that I know how to study to really understand what I'm learning. I'm not just memorizing. So is this very much like you, somewhat like you, or not at all like you? And a lot of this depends on how what your high school experience was like. Some high schools are very focused on memorize, memorize, memorize. Others are focused on really understand the information. So far, we don't have anybody who say, oh, look, it's not like you at all. That's a fantastic sign. But this understanding is really, really critical, because when you just cram and memorize, the research shows that after, less than 5 days after the exam, you have maybe less than 30% of what you tried to remember in your actual memory able to access. So memorizing isn't a long-term strategy to build a career in a specific industry. So really great. Next question. I feel confident that I could work with a group of students I don't know in an online environment on an assignment or project. We have lots of working collaboratively at university. Group work, group assignments are there all the time. And unlike high school, you're working with people that you don't know. Sometimes the teacher might put you in a group. Other times you have to meet people online to form your own group. So I'm really pleased to see that lots of students feel confident enough to turn on their webcam, start on that project. And if you're feeling a little less confident, then one of the keys in building a good group to do an assignment with is getting to know each other. Form that Facebook chat, right? Messenger chat with each other, or WeChat or WhatsApp or whatever you want to use. Get to know each other a little bit better, because once you know each other a bit more, then, funnily enough, once you get to know each other, you get a feeling of belonging. Once you get that feeling of belonging, then you're actually going to work better as a team. So with group assignments, it's really important to get to know each other, lay out, okay, well, here's what I am good at. What are you good at? How are we going to work out the assignment? Communication is really key in that collaboration environment. And our very last question, I feel brave enough that I can ask a question of my educators, of my teachers, during an online class or on a discussion board when I'm confused. And immediately, the very much like me jumped up. This is where students really struggle. This is the idea of if I don't understand something, you don't just want to sit there and like keep reading the same part of the textbook, hoping that you're going to get it, because that's not going to change anything. So university is also about learning, who do I ask for help? Asking my teacher, asking somebody in my class, asking somebody that might be in a social club that I know for some assistance. So be brave to ask those questions, either on the discussion board or in the class. Fantastic. Well, everybody's doing really great here. I'm going to go back to my slides. One of the things that I do with all of our business students at UTS is we actually go through our learning power and we try and figure out, where do we need to improve? Everybody needs to improve somewhere to be a better learner. And being a better learner is not just about being great at school or at university, because when you go into the workplace, if you want to start your own business, if you want to do something really out there, own a restaurant, have a startup, be an influencer. Somebody said global influencer as one of their goals of what they want to be. Then you're going to need to learn about that. What does it take to be an influencer? What are ways that I can improve my social media following? How do I analyze Instagram analytics, for example, to see who is actually clicking on my posts? What are they liking? So no matter where you want to go, what you want to do, you're going to be a lifelong learner. And that could be something really big, like becoming an influencer. It could be really small, like, something's happened on my phone, I can't fix it. And you go to YouTube to try and find that out. So this little mini assessment is really a good way to get an understanding of what is important for studying online. So let's talk about university. Do you really need to go to university? Now, for those people who wanted to be chefs, dancers, musicians, sometimes university isn't the right place. If you wanted to be a chef, I'd say culinary school is a really great place to be. So think about, do you really need this degree? And how do you do that? You might use LinkedIn. So if you go to linkedin.com, that's basically like Facebook, but for professional people. So if you find somebody that you admire in an industry, go onto their LinkedIn page. Look at what studies did they do? What qualifications do they have? Is that something you could do? So think about, do you really need a degree? The next thing is, how do you choose an institution? Of course, we'd love you to come to UTS, and we're hosting this, but you've got to pick the institution that feels right for you. And so what should you look for in terms of trying to pick an institution that's good for you? One, what sort of online resources are there? We know that right now the governments are working really hard to try and figure out a way to have international students come to Australia. But, a lot of the inside information that I'm getting is that vaccinated students will get priority. So number one, get vaccinated. Number two, look at, are there online learning resources? What do you get online, and how can you be supported in learning online? So for all the services we have on campus, we have those online as well. And work integrated learning. You'll see this a lot. What does it mean? It means that we bring real life into the classroom. And that's really important, so that when you go out to a job, you can do the things that they're asking you to do on the first day. UTS has always prided itself on being industry relevant. When I was a student at UTS, I don't want to say how many years, like almost 30 years ago, when I first started as an undergraduate, the business school and the university's motto was forward-thinking, work-ready. They were always producing work-ready graduates, always making sure that people coming into our classrooms to help teach students have practical experience, that we're always consulting with industry so that you're learning the things that are actually happening out in the workplace. And that's going to be really important. So what are the skills that we're focusing on at UTS for the future of work? Number one, digital literacy. Everything is digital, even to the point where you can get a lot of analytics information straight on your phone. So we want to make sure that our graduates are capable of working in this online collaboration environment. We use a lot of industry-based tools like Microsoft Teams to help students collaborate. We're big on problem-solving skills. The world has a lot of problems. There is no planet B. We have issues with plastic. We have people trying to get to Mars. So the world is full of problems that need solving. And to try and get those problems solved, we're working across disciplines. So we're having, accounting students get to meet with marketing students, work with science students to solve the world's big problems. And here's the last one, interpersonal skills. This is really important when it comes to online worlds of work. We need to know how to communicate with people who might not speak your language really well, communicate visually, communicate in a written way, communicate online. This is really important. A lot of people, when they're giving a presentation online, you'll see that little box that has the video of you in the bottom of your screen. Lots of people, even people I see on television, instead of looking at their camera, which is exactly what I'm doing, they will look at themselves on the little box on the screen. And if I'm doing this, you're not connecting with me. You're not connecting with anything I'm saying because I'm not really looking at you. And as soon as I look at you, then that creates that connection. So, we're thinking about the future world that our students are going to be working in. So what sort of learning support do we have? Great online learning platforms, lots of quizzes, lots of resources, lots of discussions, weekly online classes so that you can get support. Some of those classes are large group, some of them are small group so that you can get the assistance that you need. And if you need help, there's always one-on-one consultations with either your teacher, a writing specialist, a mathematics specialist, a library specialist. All of the learning support that we have is available to you online as well as on campus. And we've never had so many students ask for help before because now they can do it from home. They don't have to come to campus. But what does campus look like? These are brand new buildings. UTS Central is brand new. I had one class in UTS Central before we closed for COVID, but the bottom left is our library. I find that even if you're feeling like you don't want to study and you're having problems staying on track with that mindful agency, even when days I don't feel like writing and I know I have to write a lot, I will take myself to the library and I will sit down in one of these spots and I will see all of these students around me studying and people writing. I think, okay, this is the right environment. So sometimes I even use these spaces to help inspire me to write. So that's the inside of the building. The outside of that building, of the same building is what you see on the top there. It does look a bit like a spaceship, but inside, this is what the classrooms are like. So this is what we call a large collaborative classroom. I teach in this room with 200 students. We're doing hands-on activities. I'm not talking to them about the textbook. I am saying, here's a real-life problem. Here's 30 minutes. Try and solve it. I'll bring in someone from industry that will be there to give them insights, to ask questions to take feedback. So these collaborative theatres are really fantastic. I love working in these with our students. And that means, we increase that feeling of belonging as well, even from being in the spaces together. So I'm actually finished a tiny bit early but that means that we can have more time for Q&A here. I want you to keep in touch with me. So feel free to follow me on social. I'm on Facebook and on Instagram as Amanda Loves to Audit. If you're on LinkedIn already and you're getting organized in high school on LinkedIn, you can scan that QR code right there and that'll take you to my LinkedIn profile. And you can follow or request to connect. You can also connect with the business school through our channels. And if you ever need to drop me an email, you can just search for Amanda White UTS and my profile will come up. So I'm going to hand over now to Benny, and Benny's going to talk about, a lot of the mechanics of coming to study here at UTS. But don't forget as well, we're going to be having Q&A. So make sure that you can use the Q&A box to ask your questions, and we're going to do our best to answer them after Benny's done his presentation. So Annette, is Benny there and ready?
Oh, thank you very much, Dr. Amanda. There's a lot of tips from your session, yeah? Okay, before Benny would come in, so I just wanted to give you a touch a little bit more. I do believe that, students, you have lots of questions, as what Dr. Amanda has said. Please drop it off in the Q&A, and we will get her to answer them live for you. Now, continue from Dr. Amanda's sharing. I am very confident that you will definitely remember one of the key learning power, because she has repeatedly, explained to us that can help to equip yourself in a lifelong learning, especially in this very complex world. Yeah. So one of the key points that I just wanted to highlight, or I remembered, was collaboration, and it is so true. And we apply this into our teaching. Yeah. So now let's look, at what UTS live online is. Okay, so imagine that you're back home right now, borders closed, you're unable to travel. So with our live online, you can complete either part of this full pathway program and then travel to Sydney when the borders reopen. So our live online classes are flexible. Okay, it offers a mix of online real-time classes with your own self-paced learning, and it's also available online as well. Now, unlike the terms that we hear, like distant learning or online learning, which is usually a very self-directed to your own pace, our live online classes are taught live teaching. Okay, then we have live classes and we have live support. So you will have the same learning outcome as our students on campus. Yeah. So in fact, you have the benefit, to connect with our students and make new friends all over the world, all around the world. And then you also add in that you'll be able to learn valuable online skills like communication, like what Dr. Amanda said, collaboration and time management as well. So like all our classes at UTS College, our classroom size are very small in groups, not more than 20 students. So this will ensure that personalized attention and immediate feedbacks are given to students. So now at UTS College, we use a lot of combination of learning software, online collaboration, and communication tools to make it very easy or simple, accessible. One of the things that I wanted to mention is accessible and easy for students to join our classroom and work with our lecturers and students. And these will include Canvas. Now, what is Canvas? Canvas is a learning management system which is used all by universities and colleges around the world. So what can you see on Canvas? You can see your subject materials, you can see your assessment, you can see your announcement, or you can even post discussion. So we even have a calendar tool to make sure that you stay on track or organized, and even see when your assignment is even due. Yeah, all right. So a quick sum up on this. Now, it is a very same educational outcome, same teaching and classes, and same quality curriculum that is delivered on a face-to-face manner in classes. Okay. Now, with our live online, you are definitely not alone on this. It comes with great support. Okay, we have amazing range of people that students can just call in for help. Okay, we have student center that is available for general inquiries. Then we have the welfare team. Okay, for example, if you have any mental health, or other assistance, this team, right, they engage social media activities and even welcome you on orientation day. So we also have our information technology and digital service, and they are the service desk that provides you technical supports. All right. So such as installation on software into your devices or students' devices. Yep. So we have student success advisories that actually provides you any related issues to your studies. So like example, our subject coordinator definitely will be subject related. Then our teaching staff will be our lecturers, our tutor, that will be for classes or subject specific or content specific, to be much more detailed. Then we also have this particular center, which is called the Higher Education Language and Presentation Support. In short, we call it HELPS. Okay, yeah, call it HELPS, all right? So this particular center, they run workshop for you and provide you resources. So what kind of workshops do they have? They have reading, reading skills, listening skills, and they have referencing as well. So that's amazing. Now, here is one thing that I wanted to highlight: Studiosity. Studiosity is one of our online support, all right? It provides 24/7, okay? Remember, 24/7, anytime, anywhere on your online academic and assignment feedback. Now, the amazing part is you can even start to chat with your tutor anytime. So that is how amazing it is, all right? So you don't feel lonely, all right? That's good. Now, next, this brings me to here, this brings me this for you now. What benefits? So UTS College benefits you in many areas. Okay, it guarantees you entry into UTS, but of course, okay, making sure you successfully complete your program. Yeah, then we can fast track you into the UTS degree, first or second year, depending on the program you choose. There'll be a full-on support given to you that meets your needs. Okay, our program are designed in collaboration with UTS, and that leads to the same educational outcome as the first year for UTS courses. So now what we want to say that I want to shout out to everyone here: you can study now, travel later. That's what we want you to stay on track for your goals to reach at UTS. All right. So now, see, having said all this, I know as an international student like yourself, top students like yourself are constantly seeking for scholarship opportunities. So here are some of the examples that I want to share with you. So we do have the Vice Chancellor International for the undergrad, postgrad scholarship, which is valued for full tuition fees. Full tuition fees. Then we have the UTS College to UTS Pathway Scholarship that is valued at 50%. And then we also have the UTS Foundation Studies, which is valued at 25%. So we do have two different scan code there. One is for the UTS scholarship and one more is for UTS College scholarship itself. All right, cool. All right, thank you. So now let's move on. So other than that, I just do not want to miss out on this. Okay, we're not forgetting. Okay, there are also specific country scholarship available. So example that I wanted to share with you, we have here is for our Vietnamese students and it's also for our Indonesian students. So you can visit the website or that particular QR scan code that you have just checked. Yes, we can actually find this information on that. Okay. Now, lastly, this is the moment. We're also waiting for our next guest, okay, our next speaker. I would like to invite, okay, Benny Tisseram, the International Relation of Southeast Asia, to share about UTS graduate employability. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So it has been a long wait. Okay, cool. So what happened is it has been a lot of takeaway from Amanda's and Annette's session, and a lot of collaboration, a lot of belongings, and a lot of communication parts. So what I'm going to tell you today is I'm going to be a virtual tour, and I'm going to bring you through a little bit of where UTS is and how our facilities work. I'll echo a little bit of what Amanda have talked about the classroom, how collaboration works in UTS. So what we do is we have this learning.future. If you have time after this session, just look for UTS learning.future. And you will see that how the methodology of teaching at UTS that helps students to get into the employability at the end of the day. And looking at the class, you can see that even the lecture theaters are designed in a way that is for collaboration, as what Amanda have said earlier, and that you have to come to the class and you have to do a lot of discussion. So imagine yourself, I would always like to imagine yourself 3 years, 4 years in UTS, and how many groups of discussion you have to do, how many teams of people you have to work with, how many people you have to deal with. Imagine those effort, the soft skill that you are building up at UTS. Those soft skill is what you can't get outside. That soft skill brings you into the collaboration and the way you're able to communicate with the industry. And imagine how many projects that you have solved through this channel. And of course, with UTS, we spent about 1.3 billion Aussie dollar just to upgrade all our facilities to support students' learning. Even though you are away from UTS at the moment, you can still access some of the facilities online. And example, just for here, that looking at the right corner, you see that this room, this is the data arena. And someone had mentioned about AI and data analytics and so on. This room is just amazing. I always feel that I'm like so futuristic when I'm looking at Iron Man. It's like I can actually put on the device on my hand and I put on the 3D glass. I can actually move the graph left to right, right to left, and I can compare millions of data at the same time. It is just amazing. What is this room here? This one, of course, is not the challenging game that you fall down and then you hurt yourself. But this is basically the acoustic room where you can actually test the 5G signals that with UTS is actually working with our partners, Nokia. And we actually do a lot of research in this particular context area. And definitely there's a lot of things that to offer to UTS students or the future UTS students. The Tech Lab video that you are looking at is ongoing. There's plenty of research collaboration with the industry. And we have more than 1,000 partners in Sydney itself that we work across the board, from engineering to IT to business to design. There's plenty of them. So even, who is this little cute guy here? Well, this is basically Steve Wozniak, the Apple co-founder. And why is he here? He's basically one of our adjunct professors, the person who created iOS system. His collaboration works in the areas of Artificial Intelligence Institute and also the largest AI center in Australia, which is with UTS. So you can see that we are actually focusing on a lot of activities that is in the industry, and we make sure bring the industry to the students. And that's where you get the latest activities and the latest experience that you can gain in the market. Looking back at what Amanda has shown you, the new building, well, the before and after. So we would like to bring you to see what is before and what is after. And what you're looking now, it is basically the current library, the brand new library. And it is a 7-story space. And what I would like to share with you is we use technology across the whole university, inclusive of this library. Imagine the 7-story space and you still can't find your book. Where can you get it then? So basically, it is actually stored right under this garden. So under this garden, we actually store up to 1 million books on the library retrieving system. It's a robotic system where you just key into the computer order and the robot will go underground, take the book, send it back to the collection area, and the librarian will pass you the book. So imagine everything is technological, from the building, from the library, and of course, if I would like to share with you one more building that I won't be able to show here, which is our engineering and faculty building. It has more than 2,000 sensors. So the moment you walk in the building, it collects data. It knows that you walk in the building. And then it automatically controls its own temperature. It generates its own energy and recycle its own water. So it's just cool. So we apply technology across the board. Of course, when you talk about current industry and you talk about employability, well, if you read a lot of Australian news at the moment, you will see that the startup community actually, during this pandemic, actually is one of the key area of employment. UTS startups also provide this area where we actually encourage all our students to involve in startup. And currently we have about 414 startups per 2 months ago. We actually have 414 startups that is actually funded by venture capitals. So students, you can actually join UTS and you can study and do your business at the same time. This is just amazing. Of course, another area that if you would like to talk about employability, how we actually prepare students from the classroom all the way to your employability point. So the career office is another area where you can get all the support. Career office runs 3 career fairs each year. From 100 companies to 400 companies will come into the university, set up their booth, talk to students. Even during this pandemic session, we have a lot of online career session. So imagine that you can, if you don't have a professional photos on your LinkedIn profile, basically you can go to their office. They can actually take a professional photo booth for you. If you are worried about, like earlier, you're scared to ask questions and things like that, you're not sure how to go through the interview, you can just go to their office and or get an appointment online with them, and they will actually be able to do a mock interview with you before you actually go to the industry to get the real interview. And you can get a one-to-one counseling session before you really go out. And there's even a career blog where all the alumni write in their stories lines and so on. And you can just read all this at the moment. And the best part is, if you can't get a suit to go for an interview, or you don't have a suit to go for an interview, basically you can rent the suit from them. And of course, the career office doesn't stop during your studies. You can get part-time, full-time. And the best part is, even after you completed your study, you are an alumni at UTS, the UTS career still support up to 2 more years after you graduate from UTS. So put it this way, UTS, Australia has about 43 universities, and there's top 8 universities that is ranked in the top 100. And UTS actually ranks 7 in Australia and 69 in the world. So definitely this is a place where you should be, and you should come and join us and seek for more information. So I'll pass the baton back to Annette and let her continue the rest of it. Okay, see you.
Thank you very much, Benny, for your very good insight information that you have provided. Oh, I love the part when you actually share about the hiring suit for students to go for interview. That's definitely save a lot of pocket money for students, Yeah. So now, if let's say you're wondering, when is our next intake, or you're curious about it, our next academic intakes will be in June and September, and then our English program will be starting this May itself. Okay, happy for you to visit the website to get more information. Our websites are really good. We have very detailed information provided there. Okay. And any inquiries on how to apply, yes, feel free to visit our website as well. Okay, you can contact our trusted educational agents, and they'll be able to provide you with documentation, the applications, scholarship or visas inquiries to you. Okay. Yeah. So lastly, we would right now, this is the exciting part for everyone, is the Q&A session. Yes. All right. So I don't see any questions, but we do have the chat. Okay. So let's invite Dr. Amanda again to see that if you want to answer any of the questions posted live.
Hey, everybody. There's some great questions that are coming through the chat to just us. Unfortunately, if you're an attendee, you won't be able to see them. But I'll answer some of the questions that are coming through right now. So one of them was, how many students are there in online classes? So typically our classes are structured in lectures and tutorials. So a subject will have a lecture and a tutorial, or it'll have one just sort of smaller workshop. So a lecture will typically have quite a lot of students in it. It could be 100 or 200 in an online class. Workshops or tutorials tend to be quite small. So at UTS College, there are 25-ish students online. And when you come to UTS proper, after you've completed your UTS College program, then our classes are about 40 in an online class. So there's another question that sort of links to that one, which said, well, how do we learn collaboratively if we're online? In Zoom, we use breakout rooms. So we break students into small groups. I give them a PowerPoint document. We use collaborative sharing technologies, which means that every student in the class is accessing the same PowerPoint document. Breakout room 1 has a certain task to do. Breakout room 2 has a certain task to do. Breakout room 3, we ask students to go into their breakout rooms and work on those problems. And then perhaps, they nominate one person to come back to the class and talk about what they've done. So all of the things that we would do in terms of collaboration in person, we've worked out the technology to be able to do that online using Zoom, using Microsoft Teams, and lots of other collaborative technologies. So those are some ones. Let me just see what else there is. One of them, how can I make friends at university? This is a hard one because if you're coming from a different country, you don't know anybody. The great thing about UTS is the clubs and societies. There are, I think, close to 100 different clubs and societies. There's the Malaysian Student Society, the Vietnamese Student Society, the Indian Student Society, the Singaporean Student Society, whichever country you come from, the Myanmar Student Society, for example. So no matter where you're from, there is a club of students from your home country. But you might like something else. You might think, okay, I'm going to join the Malaysian Student Society. But hey, I love K-pop. I'm going to join the K-pop society and hang out with people there. Or I might like robotics, or I'm interested in food. There are a whole lot of societies built around going out to eat different foods, which is sort of fantastic. So you can check out the clubs and societies to really help you get to meet people. And if you're worried about English, well, then we actually have lots of events. We have Talk Fest. We have weekly conversation groups that get together just to talk about anything. BTS, the weather, English football, whatever it might be. So if you're worried about making friends, we do so much and give you so many opportunities to get to meet other people to help you make friends. Okay. All right. So this one from V, I find it very hard to focus during the lecture. Are there any tips that you would like to advise to help you improve your concentration? The first one is take notes. All right. UTS is moving all of its lectures online. So we're giving very few lectures where I would just talk to students. The great thing about that for students where English is not their first language, you can pause, take a note. If it's not clear, rewind. You could go back and look at the transcript or the captions if you're unsure of how we're saying something and what that might mean. So there is so much support that allows you to also learn in chunks rather than sit there for 2 hours. There are 6 videos, 15 minutes each. And that means if you're feeling like it's hard to stay focused, watch one, take a little break. Watch another one, take a little break. So that's something that we can do. So I've done that one. The cutoff for admission question, I will pass back to Annette in just a little bit. How can I use my time at uni to make yourself more employable? And this is where, I speak with lots of employers and they say, we want students who understand the course that they're studying, that can show they can manage themselves and manage their time, and that they're genuinely nice people. Nobody wants to work with somebody who's terrible. So to make the most of your time at UTS, we have a whole lot of different programs. Number one, improving English. If you're looking for a job here in Australia, that's critical. Number two, get involved in those clubs and societies to prove that you can have leadership skill, that you can collaborate, you can work together with people to achieve a common goal. The other thing I would really strongly suggest anyone who's coming to UTS do is a program called our Accomplish program. The Accomplish program is a specific career development program so that you can understand yourself better, create a LinkedIn profile, know how to act in the interview, go to pretend assessments, know how to answer certain questions. There's all these hints and tips, and it's a whole term-long program that students do free of charge at UTS to make sure that they know how to get the job. It's not just enough to have the knowledge of the course, but you know how the system works to actually get the job as well. Oh, geez, heaps of questions have come out in the chat. Oh, okay. All right. So there was a question about scholarships for Hong Kong students. Annette's going to take care of that. There was another question about internship opportunities. So in almost all of our programs at UTS, there is the ability to either do an internship as part of your degree. So for example, in the Bachelor of Business, in every major except accounting, you can actually do an internship subject. Where going on an internship will be for credit in your subject. Engineering has internships, fashion and design. Most of our degree programs do have internships. And where there's not an internship, you'll have work integrated learning, where we bring the workplace into the classroom. So that will really help with that practicality to make sure that you're doing everything that you need to do. Now, there's a great question here about engineering students and practicals when there's online classes. So there are actually virtual laboratories that you can go into where with engineering, you're working with forces and doing different things. They have set up virtual environments that are designed to mimic real life so that you can try something with electrical engineering, doing different things, but all in a virtual environment. So that's something that's really coming up. Okay, so I have to start wrapping up. Okay. I'm just looking at is there a specific question in that you want me to answer as the last one? They've just told me, last question.
Yeah. Well, what about, there's this question by Nisha. It was talking about after pandemic. Yeah.
Yeah, so after the pandemic, what are some challenges in accounting and auditing? And did auditors lose any of their jobs? Actually, we kept all of our jobs. So audit has moved remote. We've used lots more data analytics. We're using much more technology. There are some instances in which, there are drones flying through warehouses that have cameras on them, that have the auditors watching things happen. So accounting has really risen to the challenge during COVID because every business has turned to a business advisor. And that advisor is typically their accountant. So we have seen accountants become inundated with clients that perhaps only contact them once a year, now contacting them quite often. So we're still seeing strong demand in the accounting sector, in the finance sector, especially in marketing. Some people said marketing before. Traditional marketing, print, television, not so much. Social media marketing has taken off. Retail marketing has just gone through the roof. While we're all at home looking to spend our money. So, there's been some areas where we've seen declines during the pandemic, things like traditional television and print advertising, but we've seen lots of areas really increase in demand. And, we're still going to see strong employment opportunities for students who are studying business, engineering. There's still lots of good opportunities there for students. So, yeah.
Yes. Thank you very much, Amanda. It was so now we have come to the end of our event. So I just want to say, on behalf of UTS, I'd like to thank our speakers for making their busy time and their schedules to be with us today. Now, do remember to follow Amanda on her YouTube, okay, or her Instagram at Amanda Love Audit. Okay, she's more than happy to have a chat. And also don't forget to follow us as well at UTS and also at UTS College. Okay. So this particular area, if let's say you still have some burning questions or conversation that you want to talk to us, feel free to scan this code and then it will lead you to our a channel that you can chat with us, okay, live, all right, with us or with our students on UTS and UTS College experiences. Okay. Now, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, everyone. I am Annette signing off, leaving you with this quote. When you find an idea that you can't stop thinking about, that's probably a good one to proceed. Thank you.